Thor: Love and Thunder came out this year. It's the fourth Thor film. I can't believe it's been 11 years since the first one. The movie opens up with Gore. He's in some kind of desert. His daughter has died from some kind of illness. He goes to his god for help, but his god refuses to answer his prayers. So Gore finds a sword called the Necro Sword. The sword is telling him to kill the gods, go to the gates of eternity. The sword chose him, so he grabs the sword and he kills his god. And he vows to kill all gods as well, including Thor, the god of thunder. That is the opening of the movie. Then we go to Earth. We see Jane Foster. She has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And all hope is pretty much lost here. There's nothing that the doctors can do. She herself begins to believe that she is also hopeless, until a book of Asgardian mythology calls to her. And it's telling her to find Mjolnir, and Mjolnir will restore her health. So she goes to New Asgard. She finds Mjolnir. It's broken in pieces because Hela destroyed it in Thor Ragnarok. But the hammer puts itself back together. And Jane is somehow able to wield that hammer. Now, the only way to wield Mjolnir, you must be worthy. So for some reason, some way, Jane must be worthy. And I never really quite figured that out. But they did give us reasons why Thor may be unworthy. They did tell us the story of what happened between Jane and Thor during these last 8 years. 2 years after Thor: The Dark World, between 2013 and 2015, their relationship was just doing fine. Thor and Jane were getting along. But when the events of Age of Ultron happened, and Civil War and Infinity War, Thor's workload increased, so he pretty much left. Jane got busy for her science career, and she left Thor. She wrote him a note saying that they need to part ways. So I can see why Thor is unworthy to wield Mjolnir. He wanted to commit to a relationship with Jane, but he ultimately decided to neglect that relationship. So this is a story about how Thor is unworthy and needs to become worthy. So that's kind of what I got from that. I think that's kind of interesting. So Jane, she's able to wield Mjolnir. When she wields Mjolnir, she has the powers of Thor. But when she lays the hammer down, she's back to her cancer-stricken self. Which I thought that was interesting. So she goes into Asgard, she gets Mjolnir. She's Lady Thor, or the Mighty Thor in this movie. So then we go out into the cosmos. Thor is teaming up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're answering a bunch of distress calls. They come upon a distress call from Lady Sif that someone has been slaying gods. So Thor and the Guardians, they're going to go out and answer all the other distress calls. Thor goes out there and rescues Lady Sif. Lady Sif's arm has been cut off. She's dying. She thinks she's got to go to Valhalla. But Thor reminds her she must be killed in battle. So she survived. So she's not going to Valhalla. Her arm might be there, but she's not. So Lady Sif warns Thor of Gore, the God Butcher, and he's going to Asgard next. Alright, so Thor, he is also going to Asgard, and that's where he meets Jane. He's shocked. He's like, Jane, is that you? Why are you carrying my hammer? Why are you wearing my helmet? But my body armor? And that's where Korg kind of narrates the story between those two. Right, so Gore comes into Asgard, and he meets Thor, fight each other. Thor's able to fend them off. Then what Gore does is that he uses his shadow demons, shadow monsters, and he abducts all the kids, and he's gonna take them to the gates of eternity for some type of ritual sacrifice. It's up to Thor, Jane Foster, Korg, and Valkyrie to come up with some kind of plan to rescue the kids and take down Gore the God Butcher. Now this movie I like. I think it's pretty good. Pretty good. I don't think it's better than Ragnarok. I think Ragnarok was slightly better, a little bit more adventurous. But this one, a lot of good things in this movie. I liked Gore, the God Butcher. Christian Bale did a good job of him. He was all dark. He was brooding. He was scary. Every time Gore came onto the picture, there's some type of black camera filter, surrounding the screen, and make him look scary and menacing. So that was good. Uh, Jane Foster's Thor, Mighty Thor. I didn't mind that. They did a good job with the balance. I was a little bit worried going into the movie that they were going to kill off Thor, make Jane Foster the main Thor of the MCU, but that didn't happen. So they balanced out the Thor and the Jane Foster stuff. That was fine. I didn't feel like she stole the power from Hemsworth. Hemsworth still felt like the main star. That was fine. I didn't mind the humor. The humor in the movie between Thor and the Guardians. That was good. Thor making jokes and deciding which hammer he wants, Stormbreaker or Mjolnir. That was fine. So the humor's fine in the movie. The only scene I didn't really like was the Hercules stuff. So Thor, he goes to Omnipotence. He finds Hercules. They chitter chatter, and I thought that scene was kind of pointless. But overall, this movie's pretty good. 10 out of 10. They do have a post-credit scene. One of them is Jane Foster being in Valhalla, and she meets Idris Elba, Heimdall. And then another post-credit scene, we see Hercules being introduced. So we could see like a Valhalla movie with all the gods in it, or a Hercules movie, I don't know. But Thor Love and Thunder, pretty good. I don't know if there will be a Thor 5, but Thor 4, Love and Thunder, I give it a 10 out of 10. To me, this is my second best in the Thor series. I would go with the third one, the fourth one, the second one, and the first one. But those are my thoughts on Thor Love and Thunder.